Okay. All right, so welcome everyone for the to this webinar. I remind you again that there is a link to the webinar on the statprep.org. So if you get cut off, you can get back on again, as Danny just said. And you can just, it turns out Zoom lets you come back in, no big deal. So I want to welcome you all here. This is great that you've all showed up. I had muted all of you. To unmute yourself, you can actually go into your picture and just click on the little microphone that has a slash through it, and that will unmute you. So if you want to talk about anything or ask any questions, please unmute yourselves. Okay? We ask you to be muted just because background noise comes through to everybody. And so if we have a lot of participants, you get to hear everything that's going on in the background and all the conversations.
But if you have something to say, unmute yourself and say it.
Please do, yes. So there's also, in the bottom of this, if I stop sharing our screen that's on there right now, I can show you a little bit about the site. So here's, I'm going to share this part of the screen now. This is where I want to share. Nope, not what I want to share. All right. Trying to share the Zoom meeting itself. Oh, there we go. Okay. So in this window here, got the wrong one shared, but there is also a chat window at the bottom to where you can chat with us. So if you want to not actually say anything, you can go chat with us, and that will give you an idea. And if you type it, it'll go to everybody, or you can actually ask to just send it to a few of us. So you can go ahead and get that information. If you want to ask a question and you don't want to do it to everybody and just set a chat, we can do that. Okay. The other things that I just want to kind of mention is that you can share your screens. Right now, my screen is shared. I'm going to stop sharing it. But at the bottom of your screen, you should now see some things like the mute button, stop video, invite people, manage participants. Share screen again is where we can do to share screens, and the chat is also here. And then if you click on the shared screen, you can actually go in and share your screen with us. And that will probably be very useful when we get into the part of the session where we're going to have you kind of work on your own. Then we'll help you. So if you're having issues with something, you can share your screen and we can look at that screen. All right. Okay, so this is who I am. My name's Kate Kozak. I am a teacher at Coconut Community College in Flagstaff, Arizona. And I've been teaching here for a long time, and I have a background in statistics because I have a master's in statistics. And I've been teaching, I don't even want to say how many years I've been teaching statistics. So if you're participating in this webinar or watching the recording, you already know something about StatPREP. But for the sake of completeness, I will say only that StatPREP is an initiative of the Mathematical Association of America in conjunction with the American Mathematical Association of Two-Year Colleges, or AMATIC, and the American Statistical Association, ASA. Our objective is to help college faculty make the transition from statistics taught as a topic of probability to statistics which engages data science and the huge and growing importance of data in all sections of our society, commerce, and science. We'll be able to do this thanks to a grant from the U.S. National Science Foundation. All right, so you're going to see how to set up a website in your course. I don't know about you, but I can't create websites in my college, so this is very useful for me to be able to share data with my students. With me today is Danny Kaplan from McMaster College in St. Paul, Minnesota.
Hi, Kate. Hi, Kate.
Hi. Do you want to say anything to yourself?
No, you've said enough about me.
What have I said? Okay. All right. So So Danny, it seems a little odd to start with a webinar about setting up a website. What does it have to do with statistics and data?
It really has to do with communication and collaboration. When you're teaching with data, you have to provide students with access to data sets and instructions and so on. And traditionally, we've done such communicating by handing out pieces of paper or with a textbook. That works for the kind of tiny collections of numbers that you see in textbooks, but it doesn't work for authentic data of an authentic size. So in the next couple of webinars after this one, we're going to introduce our studio and how to write or modify or write tutorial lessons that we'll be using in StatPREP. And we want instructors to start off with a solid basis for using these tools. And we want them to be able to collaborate with the StatPREP team and with each other. As you'll see in those webinars, the systems that we're going to use for setting up the website today, Git Hub and Markdown, are also central to effective collaborative work. So today we're laying some foundations. Once we start building them, the purpose of the whole structure will start to make more sense.
All right, so you said we're using Git Hub and Markdown. What are those? That's
right. So the two tools, Git Hub is a web service that provides collaboration, storage, and distribution of files. So in some ways, it's like Dropbox or Google Drive, but it's better suited to large collections of files. And so those collections for us might include data, tutorials, software, reports, and so on. And today, a website. And GitHub lets you publish things as well as collaborate on them. Markdown is a very, very small language for writing documents. It's very simple, but it lets you combine narration or narrative with computer code or graphics, or as you'll see later, interactivity. And it works with a big variety of systems. It's a web standard. And so you can produce all sorts of different things with it. Web pages, books if you were writing a book, documents, handouts, all sorts of things you can produce with this. And it's become more or less the lingua franca of computer savvy writing. And both of these, GitHub and Markdown, are standard professional tools. So they look good on a resume. GitHub has more than 1 million people, mostly it's programmers, who are members of it. It's considered a basic credential. But that makes it worthwhile in their own right, just that they're a credential and they're widely used. But they're going to make our work much, much easier.
All right, well then let's get started. So what I would like to do is show you the GitHub website. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you. All right, so you should be seeing a Google screen. And all I'm going to do is in the address screen, I'm going to type in GitHub. And it's github.com. So if you want to join along, you can. And then we're going to do slash DT Kaplan. Helps to spell Kaplan correctly. DT Kaplan.
There it is, the second one.
And then slash stat 101. All right, and this way you can kind of look around and see what we have here. This is Danny's website, and you have can go to it by just typing in that website again, github.com/DTKaplan/stats101. And in here is a bunch of information from Danny, but at the bottom is actually information on setting up your website. And so you might want to read this of how to set up a website, a corporate website, and setting up your website. But we're going to walk through you how to do all of this on together.
Right. So this is really a reference for later use, or if one of your colleagues wants your help in doing something.
And at the top of this page on the right-hand side are some buttons that we're going to be using later. So I just wanted to point out that they're here so that you can kind of see what they are to use in a little while. All right? All right. So, so students would go to this page, to a page like this?
No, this is one view of the files I have on GitHub. I don't think it's something many people would want their students to be looking at from the get-go. And what I'm going to show you is how to turn a page like this into a web page. So let's look at the repository the way you'd have your students do it. Kate, that's a different URL. So you might keep this tab on your browser open and then open up a new tab.
And the one we're going to go to is github.io/STAT101. And I believe I spelled DT wrong, so let me go fix it.
Well, I am Dr. but Pollen, yes, so there's an extra A in my name.
Oh, I got an extra A, sorry.
Or in your depiction of my name.
Yes. There we go. All right, and then this gives you the information that you would actually give to your students. So what he has here is a StatPREP course material and welcome to it and information, and then some tutorials that already exist. This
right.
is the site that he has.
And what we're going to do today is set things up so that you have a page like this that you can customize for your own course or courses, and that will have a URL that's based on a name that your students will find easy to remember.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and do that right now. We're going to set up the GitHub account. It's entirely free, so you don't have to pay for anything. And you might already have one, in which case you can just use that account because you can use lots of different things. But right now we're going to go ahead and set up a GitHub account to show you how to do that. So I'm going to go back to the github.com site. And I'm going to go back to just github.com. And when you go into that, you should get a site that looks like this.
Okay. Now, Kate, you're logged into your GitHub account.
No, I'm not. I'm logged out. Oh, maybe I am logged in. I thought I was signed out. So let me sign out of that. There we go. Now I'm signed out. Now we can pick a new one.
Right. And so for those of you who don't have a GitHub account, you'll see a screen like this. And for those of you who do, you're probably logged in. That's fine for you. But we wanted to show you how to set up the account.
Sorry about that. I thought it was out. Okay. So if you went to github.com, you'll be able to sign up for one. Click on the sign up, and we need to put in a username.
So we've, Dustin, are you connected to us? Can you unmute yourself? All right, well, I'll just talk instead of...
Hello? Sorry, we have to run around to unmute it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So
Dustin,
are you
Yes.
still willing to have us use you to show them how to set this up?
Oh, yes, please.
All right, so
Okay.
we're going to go ahead and set this up, and we were already in touch with you, and I understand you want to use Prof.
Prof. D. Silva.
Yeah, Prof.
It's
D.
really
Silva.
Dustin Silva if you want, but
yeah, that's...
And looks like it's not taken, so we can in fact use that. All right,
Okay.
and I need you to tell me what your email address is.
Dustin.silva@canyons.edu.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right, and then I'm going to give you a password. You're going to be able to change this later, and we'll show you how to do that.
Sure.
But right now, we're going to give you a password just so that we have a password in place for us to use. You also said you want to use Stats 140. We're going to worry about that one a little bit, but that's something just also consider, that you want to have a name for your website and your course that you're creating. So you're going to use that. Okay.
Okay, Kate, while you're entering the password, and you'll need to have a number in it, it seems. I want to just point out that the username that Dustin picked is a good kind of username for having a student website, right? It's professional. It refers to, Dustin. And that's going to be the first part of the web address of the site that you're going to create. And so as the rest of you make usernames, think about that. What would be a suitable style for your institution or for your students? And then you can use anything you want as long as it's not already taken. And you'll find that out.
All right. Okay. So we're all ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and continue. I don't know why it just came up with that page. But you can always just go back to github.com. And now we're going to go ahead. I believe you already signed in, Dustin. So we're already signed in as you. All right.
I'm doing it right now. What was the password? Because you didn't tell me that one.
Do you want me to tell you it over the?
You can chat it to him.
Oh, that's true. Okay, I'll chat it to you.
I don't know if I had to verify it through my email because it popped up in my email.
No, you have to verify it, but I don't think you need your password. But let me
Well, then go for it. Yeah, you're good.
Okay.
You can log in.
Okay, I can chat it to you if you want me to.
No, I'm good.
Okay, you're good. All right.
Okay.
So we're all logged in, and we're going to start a project.
Okay. No, we're not going to press the start a project button, though.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Okay, so you would think the thing to do is to start a project, but we're going to do something a little bit different to get you set up. So if you have a GitHub account and can log in, then you can follow this. If you don't, we'll do it later during the clinic when we can talk one-on-one. So Kate, if you would open up a new tab, so leave this one there, and send it to my GitHub repository. So that's github.com, DT Kaplan Stat 101. Okay, and what we're going to do is make a copy of this repository, but it's going to be your copy or Dustin's copy. All right, and to do that, you go up to the button that's in the upper right corner called Fork. Fork is the GitHub lingo for copy. It means a little bit more than that. And if you press that, let's see what happens. We can't until Dustin verifies his email address.
I already did. But this has to be for the passcode. So I
okay, I will.
You can just tell me it if I need to do it from here. That's fine.
Okay. It's StatPREP, exactly as it's spelled normally, and then 2017. So the S is capitalized and PREP is capitalized and everything else is lowercase.
We carefully designed the webinar so you would see this aspect of it and not be intimidated when it comes time for you to do it. So you might refresh your...
Yes, I was waiting to see. Have you gotten it verified yet?
It keeps telling me incorrect username. It should be Prof. D. Silva, right?
I believe so.
And then StatPREP, capital S, capital P.
No, just capital S, and then TAT, and then capital PREP, all caps.
And anything after that?
And then 2017.
Yeah, it's giving me issues.
So
I'm coming next to the computer.
Oh, right here.
So I did Prof. D. Silva, and I'm doing capital S, TAT, capital PREP.
2017.
I'm emailing it to you. I'm texting it to you right now just so you have it the way I said it was.
And David already sent it up.
Yeah, so did MB.
It's the first one there with capital PREP.
Yeah.
I think they texted you. with the password. Sorry for the problems.
That's okay. It still isn't working?
We're living in a world.
Messages.
Do I
Was
need
it
to
in email or I think it's.
Let me sign back out of you and then try to log back in and see what happens.
Sign up is on the top of the screen.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, we have to be quiet. Okay, got it. Yeah, but you're not broadcasting. They can't see you.
Yes.
Yeah, so that still worked. Exactly what I typed, sent to you.
Yeah, it's going to.
Anything sent to me.
You're asking about Zilla?
To my email?
Yeah.
Yes, to your email.
Yes.
No, nothing came through.
So it should have gone to your email.
So maybe she typed it in wrong.
I got one that said verify and I hit the verify.
Okay, and then that password should work.
He did. Well,
The prep is only the P capitalized, right?
No.
Yeah. No, the whole prep is capitalized.
I thought
Yeah.
I tried that too.
Yeah.
Got it. I have a feeling it's going to say too many attempts. There we go. I swear I tried that one. I know I did. Okay. It worked.
All right, we're good? Okay.
Let me log over here then. Let me close my stuff down. So, Randy's not going to be able to make it, he said.
Can you switch the
Camera.
place so that you see? No, not you, the laptop.
Yeah.
all right. Well, this is fun.
It's always good when things don't work the way they're supposed to.
Good night.
I'm going to try something a little bit different, and we'll be there in just a second.
Whose screen is being shared right now?
My screen is being shared. Do you want me to stop?
Okay,
No.
yes. Would you stop, please, Kate? And then
Yeah.
I will share my screen, and I'll work from here.
All right. Danny, I've stopped.
And, okay, so I have just, you can't see it yet, I have just logged in as Prof. D. Silva. And Kate disqualified herself by trying too many times. I won't let her in, but me they'll let in. Okay, so I am now logged on as myself. I'm going to log in as Prof. D. Silva. Come on. All right, excellent. That's not quite working, but we're just going to do it. All right, we blew it. Kate, can you log in as yourself to GitHub, please? We'll just have to set this up with Dustin later.
All right. Do you want me to share my screen again?
Yeah, please. Oh, I guess I have to say this. Okay, Mark seems to have had a forked copy. Mehdi does. Great.
All right. So I'm about to do that. Oh, meant to do sign in, not sign up. Okay.
I'm signed into it, but I wasn't really paying attention to all the jabber, so I'm not sure what we're supposed to do after we sign into it.
Okay, Mary, leave that tab open, and then open a new tab.
Okay.
And in the new tab, go to this address, github.com /DT Kaplan /stat101. I guess I can write that here.
Yeah, so I'm actually in there right now.
Okay, I'm there. I'm good. Thanks.
Okay. So what you're looking at my repository, but in the upper right corner, there's a fork button. So unmute yourself, press that, and narrate what happens, because we can't do it.
Okay, I'm now unmuted. So when I press that fork button, it says forking DT Kaplan Stat 101. It should take a few seconds. And now I have a big fat list of a simple course website. Oh, it's
Right,
me.
so, yes.
Oh, it's got my name, and under that it says forked from DT Kaplan.
Right.
Good.
I assume that in there, those are all your files.
Yes. Can you share your screen with us?
I think so. Are you ready?
Yep, go right ahead. I just stopped sharing mine.
Okay, let me try again.
Okay, perfect.
Great.
All right, let me point out some things about this while we're here. So first of all, if you look in the web browser, you see the URL is github.com / I guess that's your user ID. Yes. And right now it says Stat 101. Now, this is a copy of my repository, but it's your repository now. All right? And so you're going to be able to change it any way you want. And the first thing I'd like you to do is say what the name of a course is that you'd like to identify with this website.
Statway 1.
Great. So if you can go to the little settings button about midway, near the top of the white part of the screen. Yeah, exactly. And you see it says repository name? Change that. Yeah, it's good not to have blanks in a name.
Yeah, so you can't have the dash that you wanted to try to put like an underscore.
That's okay.
Okay.
We can always change it. Yeah.
How about if I do this instead?
I don't want to confuse myself later and call it like
Sure.
Okay.
Whatever works. You can change it at any other point too.
Okay.
And then click on rename.
And press rename. Okay, so now look at the URL. You see right where your cursor is?
Yeah.
All right, and then also underneath the silhouette of the cat, there's your user ID / that shows you what you're looking at. The forked part doesn't matter right now. Okay, so you've now changed the name of this. We're going to do one more thing, and then we'll be ready to look at your website. So go again to settings, and scroll down. Keep going. This is what we want, where it says GitHub Pages. Okay, so it says none. Press that button and select Master Branch Docs folder. Nope, next, that one. Yep.
Click on that, and then say save.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna type the name of the web address that you all can go into in order to see the public-facing page or the student-facing page.
You're typing it into the chat?
I'm typing it into the chat. Okay, so you keep your page open, Mary, and
Okay.
open up a new tab if you want, just to show us what that page looks like.
Okay, I'm trying to find the chat. Oh, there it is. Okay, can I just click it in the chat and it goes to it?
It might have not. You can copy it from the chat and put it in.
Well, I clicked it in the chat and it seems like it went there.
No, it didn't. It's still going to my repository. So you'll have to enter it in by hand in the URL.
Everyone see that?
Oh wait, I'm in the wrong place. Never mind.
Yeah. So if you want to go to his, but your username.
Right there.
Yeah, except it added it onto it. So
Yeah.
Oh, you just wanted the GitHub part. You just wanted this part.
Yeah, get rid of his name, his stat 101.
Oh, you just want my part.
yeah.
Okay.
Slash whatever you said that rename you did.
Good.
That.
All right, there you go.
That's your website right now.
That's my website.
Yeah.
Right. And anyone in the world can get to it, including your students. Of course, it doesn't have in it what you want to have in it, but it is your site and it's uniquely yours. If you had another course that you wanted to have a different website for, you would just repeat this process, but rename it to be the new course. So you can have as many of these things as you'd like. Okay?
Okay.
Now, one of the tabs you have open in your browser is labeled Options, right in the middle.
Yes.
Click on that. All right, so we're looking at your site. Now, what I want to do is look at the files that you have in your repository. And just click on the SW1 in blue. Right? So this is important. There's two views of your repository. This is the kind of geeky view, which lists all of the files. And then the one in the other tab that we were looking at before is the web page view that you would give to your students.
That view?
Yep.
Yep. And then this is the file view.
Okay. That's file view? That's
Yep.
good. Okay.
Okay, so now what we'd like to do is customize your website to say what you want to say on it instead of what I put in my template.
Is GitHub?
And these are the files you put in it. These are your files.
Yeah, leave those there. Yeah, there's a question?
What do you?
And Mika, did you have a question?
Yeah, is it case sensitive? Like if I did a capital versus not capital? Like if you did SW1 at the end without a capital?
Ambika, I'm going to be a teacher. How would you find out if it's case sensitive?
I'm gonna do it.
All right.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
So what does that tell us?
It's case sensitive.
There we go.
Okay, Mary, back to you.
Yeah.
Okay, so what you're looking at here is the list of the files in your repository. And most of these are things that I put there that are not going to be relevant to your website. But let's not worry about that right now. All of your website lives in the docs directory. So if you click on that, now these are the two files that are currently being displayed in your website. Let me explain them. So there's a web convention about websites that says that the front page of the site is going to be a file named index. There's other conventions too, but this is the one we're using. So when you see index.md, that's not a trivial thing. That is your front page. And then the other file there is just, as you can see, a CSV file. It's just an ordinary file that I put there as an example of how to do things. That makes sense? Okay, so click on index.md. All right, so now you're looking at that file. And it's the same thing you saw on the web page. You don't have to blame anyone yet. It's the same thing you saw on the web page, but this is being shown as HTML, so it looks nice, kind of. All right, scroll back up to the top of the page. There you go. And what we're going to do now is edit this. So you see the little pencil icon? You had blame, history.
Down a little bit. Yeah, there you go.
That's the editing icon. Click on that. Okay. So now you're looking at the text that constitutes your website. All right. And this is not in HTML, but it's instructions for how to how the HTML should be produced. All right. So look at the very first line. See, it has a single hash and then StatPREP course materials. That's the title of the page. So there you go.
Did I mess up?
Now you're under editing, yeah. So change it to something appropriate for your site. Or you could put it doesn't have to be the name of your repository. It could just say Statway.
This will be what people see that are out in the world. So you want it to be descriptive of what's on your page.
Great. Okay. And then erase those lines 3 and 5. And we're going to be putting you on the spot here.
You mean like all this?
Yes,
Yeah.
all that.
Okay.
And then just put in a sentence. Doesn't have to be good. You can change it later. But put in a sentence saying, you know, what the course is about, or something a student would need to know. This is the main site for our course. Great. And then put in a blank line before the next one. Okay, the next one is just another header. You can see that it's got 2 hashes. This is a second level header. But let's not worry about that right now. Okay, go to preview changes. Okay, the red is saying what you deleted.
Mm-hmm.
And the green is saying what you added.
Mm-hmm.
So we're good. Go back to the edit file. No, to the left of preview changes.
Over here over here, but next to preview changes is the edit file. Right above your StatPREP course material header, it says preview changes, and then
that's
edit file. That one.
Okay, so we're going to save that. Scroll down. And where it says commit changes, that means save. Okay, could someone who's already been to this website refresh their page and see if it has the changes in it? Or Mary, you could go to that rightmost tab in your browser and then refresh the page. Okay, so that's the process, the cycle for creating the material on your page. And the rest of the material on the page in the template just gives you some examples of Markdown and how it works. But that's something that you'd want to customize for your own class. So what's there now is almost certainly not at all relevant to you, but it may be an example. So just to give you again the picture, you've got this repository. Go to the repository tab, the one that says SW1 index.
Yep, that one right there.
That one there, all right. And now if you click on SW1 in that blue, yeah, just there, that shows you all the files. You have a file, docs. It has to be named docs. That's where your website will live. The other files are not accessible to your students directly. So you can put stuff that's confidential there if you want, but we'll talk about that later. So the docs directory holds your website, and within the docs directory, there's this index.md file. And when you edit that and then commit it or save it, your website is updated.
Mhm.
So you can do that as many times as you care to do it.
Got it.
But do remember to commit it at the end. It's way down at the bottom, so that's hard. Hard to remember. That's the process. So let's switch to another mode, why don't we? And we'll respond to questions, or we can help you all over whatever barriers you run into doing this. Hopefully Dustin can now log into his account.
I had to contact GitHub and that kind of fun stuff. So.
You're in there now?
Yeah, he can get in now.
Okay. All right, so I'll say, thanks for watching this presentation part and putting up with our clumsiness while we resolved how to type. And now we're going to switch to the kind of clinic mode. So
You want me to stop sharing?
Yes, please.
yeah. And so now it's for you to try to do these things and ask questions. And as you come up to it with a problem, maybe you want to share your screen to ask the question. Remember to unmute yourself.
So I've been recording this so we can put this on the website so people who were not here. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording so that we don't actually record the part of this.
Before you do that, are there any general questions?
Yes. Now, I'd like to make a quick comment that I was actually really glad about getting this because I want to be able to post the data for my students to access. And I now have a whole bunch of data in my GitHub site that I can actually give access to my students and they can log it right into our
Is there a limit to the number of?
I'm sorry, I can't hear very well.
I say, is there a limit to either the number or the total size of all the files we can put up there on Gitmo?
GitHub, yeah. So there's no practical limit. You have to make special arrangements to store files bigger than 100 megabytes. But that's actually quite a large file. So that's unlikely to be an issue.
Any other questions before I
You
stop?
can have as many courses as you want. You can use it for other things too, but for right now, let's just stick to the course website.
And so I do want to make the comment that before we leave this, that next month we're going to be having a webinar on the introduction of RStudio and connecting RStudio to your repository so you can manage your website and documents directly from RStudio. And then the month after that, we'll probably look into how to create custom tutorials. Those are the kind of the webinars we're looking at for the rest of the semester. And then we'll see what we need to do next semester.
So, Kate, this is Mike. Can I ask a question before we stop recording?
Of course you can, Mike.
So I noticed on Danny's page that there were links to some of the tutorials that are ready to go for students. Can we simply have those on our own page and students can click on them and then work through those?
Yes, you can do that. I've also found that because I use Canvas for my class, I just copied the URLs for the tutorials themselves and put them directly into my Canvas site so that they're accessible to my students. So I can do it either way. I can actually go into the StatPREP and go into the lesson itself and then copy that URL and put it in Canvas, or you can copy that URL and put it in your GitHub.
Yeah, let me illustrate this. I'll just show you a little bit of a screen. So here, share screen. Okay, so first I'm going to go to the statprep.org site. And you can put, of course, anything you want on your website. That's your business. But we have already some tutorials that we derived from what went on in the workshops this summer. And so for this one, for example, confidence in taxis. And when I click on that, there's a link here to the confidence in taxis tutorial. So if you wanted to use that one and give it to your students, what you could do is, well, first here, I'll just click on it and hopefully things will work. And we wait a little bit. All right, so this is an example of a tutorial, and it's code and narrative and such. But what you could do is just grab this URL and copy that out. And then when you go to your website, here's my Stat 101, you have your own, and I can go to the index.md file and I can edit it, pencil icon. Oh, it says I'm not logged in, but let me do this, just a second.
Sorry to interrupt, a quick question. If I can't get to the website, so I've renamed it, I did the fork and it's still not popping up.
Okay, let's sort that out, but let me finish for a moment.
Yeah, we'll probably have to look at your site to see look at your computer to see what's going on. So when we get to the clinic part, we'll actually have you share your computer so we can look at that.
So I can edit that, and that's what I pasted in here. Well, I already had the link there where it said confidence in taxis. That's what a link looks like in Markdown. Right? So it's what you want in the link in square braces, and then the URL in round braces. So you can put any link like that you like in your website, Mike.
Great, thank you.
Other questions? All right, it sounds like it's time to stop the recording, and then we can do sort of one-on-one help.
Sounds wonderful.
One-on-one help.
All right, I'm going to stop the recording.